Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Diego Dario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Dip Dipianco. In tonight's Game Plan, we'll name some PBA veterans who are still playing top-level basketball late in their careers.
We'll also check out the evolution of basketball that led to super scorers in today's NBA. And we go inside the game with Hayden Blankley of the Bay Area Dragons as he talks about the finals and the toughest players to guard in the PBA. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. There's a saying that players often peak at their late 20s as they have gained enough experience while still being athletic. But not these guys, though, that we're going to be talking about. There are a few exceptions, and with us to name these special few is basketball analyst, multiple-time champion as a player and as a coach, Coach Norman Black. Coach, welcome to the show. Welcome to the game.
Hi, guys.
Long time no see.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
All right, Coach. So before we move on to the players, let's talk about just having a long career in the PBA, in the pro level. You've done that, and you've been very consistent in playing at a high level. What does it take, and how difficult it is to do that?
Yeah, we have a few players in the league who have been doing it for quite a while now, and it's difficult because you have to be very disciplined.
Right.
You have to take care of your body. You have to put extra effort in when it comes to honing your skills, staying on top of your drills, make sure you're ready to play every day. But more importantly, you just got to stay healthy. That's the most important thing.
Now let's get to your list, Coach Norman. First off, you put here LA Tenorio, who just had a vintage performance somewhat in game number 1 of the finals. What can you say about how he is playing at this level right now, at this stage in his career?
Yeah, LA played for me in college at Ateneo, and he has not missed a game in the PBA, which is extraordinary in itself. The fact that his body is so strong, and he's only 5'9". And he's just ready to play every single night. But what I'm more impressed with LA is his skills have not deteriorated. He gets out there and he can play against the younger, quicker guards and sometimes be quicker than they are. And he's still making his three-point shots, which is very important for Ginebra.
And in terms of evolution, I mean, I've looked up to LA Tenorio growing up as a hooper. With LA, what did you see? Did he change his game a little bit? I mean, he was known for being a slasher to start off his career, and now he's one of the top three-point shooters of all time in the PBA.
Well, his game has evolved, but he was a three-point shooter even in college. He could hit the threes. And the one thing I like about LA, and I always say this, is he's the best passer I've ever seen, especially outlet passes. He's one of the greatest as far as throwing outlet passes, and he's just well-rounded as far as being a player is concerned. But more importantly, if you take a look at what he does at home, during the pandemic, they showed him working out at home. He has all the equipment there in his house, and he really utilizes it.
Just investment. The body's the investment when you're a basketball player.
It's paying off really good for these guys. LA Tenorio, Coach Norman, you've coached him back in college. This next guy on the list, you were actually able to coach in the professional league. So Kelly Williams, with his age right now, can still keep up with the best of them, defending imports, defending June Mar. What can you say about this game?
What is Kelly now, 41, 42 years old? He's up there, and there's no question about that. I was with Chut Reyes when we won 3 championships at Talking Tex as a consultant, and then, of course, I coached him at Talking Tex also. And he's a former MVP of the league, but at the same time, I think the thing he has going for him is his athleticism. He has not lost his jumping ability, and he has not lost his body or his strength. So he can battle the big guys down under, even up to now, including the imports. And at the same time, he can roll to the basket and still dunk on you. So he's been able to somehow keep his athleticism all these years, and it's really helped him stay in the game.
And that's most likely because of his discipline, as you mentioned, and trying to keep that same level of
just take a look at his body.
Right, I mean,
malakas ang katawan.
Sobrang lakas ang katawan. But when you talk about Kelly, Coach, you were able to coach him in terms of his leadership. Trying to mentor some young guys. How is he as a leader? When you guys won championships together?
Kelly's not really a vocal leader, but he does it by example. And he does something that's very difficult in the PBA and any league for that matter. He actually matches up with the big guy on the other team. So no matter whether that guy is smaller than him or bigger than him, in most cases they are taller and bigger than he is, he's out there battling every day. And you can just take a look at, like I said, at his body. The fact that he still has his muscles. I say he has one of those, beach body bodies when he's out there every day. So he's been able to keep his strength, and that's the reason why he's still in the league.
It's just somewhat like Coach Norman, right? Still very much in shape
No,
with that leash body
Malayo.
going on. But Kelly Williams, you're right. He can adjust. He can bang bodies, but when he can also shoot from the outside. He's kind of developed his game when he thinks that there's too much banging bodies inside. He can
Former
shoot.
MVP.
Yeah, he
Former
can shot
MVP,
shoot from the outside too. Last but not the least, on the list, Arwin Santos. A lot of talk on this guy, especially when he got traded to Northport. They're saying, okay, his prime is done. He's washed up. But when he went to Northport, still did a lot for this team and even helped out and bring him to the playoffs.
He still made the mythical team.
Exactly.
Playing for Northport, so that shows exactly where his game is right now. He has been saddled by some injuries lately, but at the same time, when he does play, he's still getting it done. I mean, offensively, he can score, he can shoot the three from the perimeter, and more importantly, he plays defense. He still plays defense. Very few players want to come in and challenge him around the basket because he can still block shots. He can still guard imports. So he's still got his game together despite the fact he's also one of those guys in his early 40s. So, Arwin's always been a great player. I sometimes think he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves because he's been so consistent with it over the years. And he probably was not very happy being traded out of San Miguel. But, that's the way this game goes. But still, he's on top of his game when he gets out there on the court.
I mean, always in tip-top shape is Arwin Santos. I mean, you've never seen him...
Masipag
talaga. You've never seen him gain weight, in the PBA. But, with the way he plays, Coach, you've seen him also throughout the years. What do you think has he done to evolve his game and to still play at this level in this era of basketball?
Well, he does not get to the basket as much as he used to. He relies more on his three-point shots now. But the thing I'm always really amazed by is his defense. I mean, he's been Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times so far in his career, and he's always in a defensive team. But he just does a great job playing defense and matching up with the best players of the other teams.
When you take a look at these players, Coach Norman, you look at LA, you said he's just 5'9". Kelly is a muscular guy.
6'7". Yeah.
Arwin Santos, he's a bit lean. So is there really a particular, prototype of how the longevity does for these types of players, or what's the most important thing? Because they have different body types, they have different routines, but what's the most important thing to be able to be like these guys who can stay in the PBA for so long?
Well, first, you have to be lucky. I think on Tatlo, Suerte, I could see they haven't had any major injuries to keep them out of the game. But when you just talk about the training part of it, they take care of their bodies, whether it be from physical exercise or whether it be from how they eat. They take care of their bodies, and that's one of the reasons why their bodies take care of them.
Well, from the PBA, we're going to still have Coach Norman in the next segment.
Right, because after the break, we'll talk about the evolution of basketball in the NBA that brought about super scorers. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. Welcome back to The Game. It's usually not a big surprise anymore when we hear someone dropping 50 points in a casual regular season game. Nowadays, it takes a lot to wow us, such as Donovan Mitchell's 71-point output yesterday. But why did scoring 50 just become normal to us? Joining us to figure out why is NBA Philippines All-Star analyst Coach Norman Black. Coach Norman, you've had a fair share of your big scoring outputs when you were in the PBA. What can you give some tips to these scorers why it was so easy back then for you to get that scoring output?
First of all, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, that's for sure.
You just made it seem so easy.
He scored
right?
76 points in one game,
Hindi madali. It wasn't easy. It just happens like that sometimes. We had an advantage back in the day, and it's happening in the NBA right now because of the way the game is being played.
Right.
It's more of an offensive game. No, we average 125, 130 points a night. Today's game, the PBA, what do we average? 100 at the most. So there was a lot of room for you to score a lot of points. And the ball normally went to the imports. In my case, I used to like to run up and down the floor a lot, so I was up and down asking for the ball every time down the court probably. And that's one of the reasons why I scored a lot around the basket. But we're seeing it in the NBA right now, which is the most difficult place to score 50 points. But when you think back, maybe it's not. Will Chamberlain averaged over 50 points a game back in the 1960s. So it has been done throughout the entire NBA history. And it's happening this year, and it's really exciting.
I mean, Coach Norman averaged, 40, 50 points before in the PBA, Coach. But let's talk about why and the reason these players are scoring. I mean, Luka just had 60, Donovan Mitchell just had 71. And you gave us your reasons here. 3 reasons. And the number one reason that you mentioned is offensively multi-talented the players are in the NBA right now.
Oh, you look at Luka. I mean, he can do just about everything. He can bring the ball up the court, play the point guard position. He can get you mid-range. He can hit threes. He can score layups on you consistently. He can dunk on you, as we've seen a couple of times this year. So even the other guys, like Donovan Mitchell, very athletic, can attack the basket, can shoot the threes, got a great mid-range game. Most of these guys scoring a lot of points can score at 3 different levels. You know, they score from the 3, they score mid-range, they score around the basket, and they get to the line a lot, to the foul line. So they're just multi-talented.
And just a quick question before we move on to the next reason. Do you think the skill now also evolved? The moves, the number of step backs that we've been seeing. What can you say about that evolution on that part of the game in the NBA?
I would say definitely the skills have evolved over the years, and players have gotten better as far as their ball handling and some of the moves they make. But I won't say that these players today are more skilled than the players before, because I was there when Michael Jordan played. I was there when Larry Bird played. I was there when Julius Erving played. I don't think there's anybody more skilled than Julius Erving, particularly when it comes to attacking the basket. So I think the players have better training than we did. I never had a personal trainer when I was coming up. Everybody has a personal.
Now
you have a personal trainer. Everybody has a personal trainer now. So guys really get out and work on their games, particularly on how to develop their finishes and their ball handling.
Probably has something to do with science too, right? How players just recover so quickly with the technology and everything. Okay, next on your list of factors why they score 50 points consistently, Coach Norman, is that high-scoring offensive games. Do you think the pace has something to do with this, especially now that there's a lot of young guys that can run down the floor so easily?
Well, when I arrived in the Philippines, it was during the time of the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls, and these teams were basically just Detroit Pistons. They were basically beating up each other. I mean, they were 90-point games, and it was basically because the defense was allowed to do a lot physically against you. The NBA does not allow that anymore. The game is really opened up to the point where even if you try to foul a guy on a fast break, you shoot 2 foul shots and take the ball out on the side, or shoot 1 shot and take it out on the side. So things have opened up to the point that it's more of an offensive game now. It favors the offensive players more than it does the defensive players. And the players, they're going to take advantage of it. That's what's going to happen.
And that's probably also one of the reasons why they can pull off all these skills, all these moves, because they're not allowed to touch.
Forearm bars, hand checking. No, some guys' hands were so strong that if they hand checked you, you wouldn't be able to move. But you're not allowed to do that anymore.
I'm sure, even with Michael Jordan scoring 50, 60 before, with that type of defense, I mean, you can't imagine that. I mean, it's crazy. How about the amount of 3-pointers that have been, teams have been taking now, Coach? Is that also a factor in all these high-scoring games and also players scoring 50, 60.
Yeah, analytics has become a big part of the game, and
Right.
they say that you can shoot a lower percentage from three and still outscore guys from two.
Right.
So you see guys out there taking threes at ease now because they know that the coaches want them to do that. The analytics say take as many threes as you can if you're capable of making them. So, yeah, that has a lot to do with it. It's a three-point game now, particularly from the corners.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if you're Steph, half court, you're Dane, half court. Some of these guys are shooting from their logos now.
Yeah, that's right.
And last but not the least, also in your list of reasons why players are scoring 50-plus points, you said here there's an increase in ball touches during the games. Does this pertain to like players being more unselfish now? They move the ball around quicker than before?
I have a tendency of watching NBA games and just focusing in on one team and then counting how many times they run certain plays and who's getting the touches. And I watched the Denver Nuggets the other day, and the big guy, he gets the ball half the time.
Right.
The ball touches his hands half the time, and you wonder why he has a triple-double. He's super skilled. Let me not take anything away from him, but he's getting the ball a lot. Even
Luka.
I mean, Luka has the ball in his hands on every single play.
Right.
And he's making the right plays the majority of the time. That's the reason why he has the ball. But when the ball is in your hands and a lot, then of course you're going to be more productive.
I mean, that's right. When you talk about that Donovan Mitchell 71-point game, I think when his teammates found him hot, they just gave him the ball.
That's correct. Even if you look at the last play when he scored on the side,
Right.
he actually went into the corner. They ran something at the top, a little pick and roll, then came back to him, a dribble handoff, he comes off and hits another three.
Yeah.
So even when he's away from the play, they're still looking for him to get the ball.
Right. So you said, Coach, that you watch some NBA games.
Actually, all.
A lot of
All that
NBA
come on
games.
TV.
I think
Yeah, that's for sure.
Coach has league pass.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Donovan scored 71. Luka scored 60 and I think a 50-point game.
Giannis
Who do
also
you-
had 50-plus a while ago.
Who do you think, Coach, is up next? Who are the players that are capable of doing these things? I mean, scoring a lot in bunches.
KD.
KD, that's for sure.
I don't think he's had a 60-point game this year, but he's capable of scoring 60 points. There's no question. Giannis, like you just said, and think about how many times they get the ball now.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie's capable. The only reason why I say Kyrie may not be the one to do that is because he also moves the basketball.
That's right.
But at the same time, he's capable of scoring 50, 60 points in a game.
The argument here is that it's somewhat easier to score 50-plus points, but 30-plus points are still impressive. Do you think we should still be wowed by these performances in the NBA if we see someone scoring 30-plus?
I'm always wowed by consistency.
Right.
Guys who can do it I look at Luka and I'm like, are you serious, bro? This is every single night. He's got so many guys out injured right now, and he's getting it done basically on his own.
Yep.
With a little help from his teammates, of course. But Luka just amazes me the way he plays.
I mean, not just scoring, also Luka is a great playmaker, great passer. Donovan is also the first player who scored 70 but had double-digit assists.
Right.
So, I mean, the game has changed. I mean, the players are excellent. I mean, amazing in the NBA. And Coach, you were amazing as well. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
And after the break, we'll go inside the game with Bay Area Dragons sharpshooter Hayden Blankley. Keep it here. You're watching The Game. You're watching The Game. As the battle for the PBA Commissioner's Cup title goes on, Paulo Del Rosario caught up with Bay Area's sharpshooting Hayden Blankley, from toughest PBA players to guard to the one-of-a-kind experience of the PBA Finals. The 22-year-old shares all that and more in this latest edition of Inside the Game.
Hayden, first of all, congratulations on what is already an incredible conference here with the Bay Area Dragons. It has been amazing and a privilege to watch you guys really taking it to all the PBA teams here. When this group first came together, could you give us your first impressions? Because, you know, it's such a mixed group, mixed languages, and so many backgrounds to kind of mesh in together.
Yeah, coming in, I had no expectation really. I had no idea what to expect. I knew that I was going to be the only guy from Australia, and that there was going to be other guys with Chinese blood and stuff, and that we were all, you know, like you mentioned, coming from all over the world. And I think that helped bring us together because we all knew we were kind of away from home, and so that helped us.
You know, for those who don't know, Hayden is, you know, based in Australia prior to all of this, and I could only imagine how you felt knowing that Coach Brian Gurgen was going to be the head coach of this team. Was it an automatic yes, I want to be under this guy when you heard about it? And of course, how did you feel?
I hadn't actually heard the news that he was leaving from the Australian NBL to coach here in the Philippines, so I had no idea. And then when I spoke to Gurgen, Coach Gurgen, on the phone, like, I knew I was speaking to basketball royalty almost, and that definitely swayed me way more to, you know, coming here and playing for such a world-renowned coach, successful coach, someone that I knew would help me develop, and slowly it became a yes.
Some people say never meet your heroes, and I don't think that's the case when it comes to Coach Brian Gurgen and you. I mean, like, it's one thing talking to him when he's recruiting you, but then how are the first few days like working with him?
It was tough at the beginning. You know, making that transition from college to playing professionally, especially in a league where it's, you know, it's super physical, and you know, I'm defending players that I didn't defend in college. You know, I played a different position in college to what I'm playing now, and now I'm trying to defend, you know, Scotty Thompson, LA Tenorio in the finals. You know, I guard the smaller guys a lot. Jamie Malonzo's an athlete that I haven't really seen in college, so like, he was hard on me all year long, and so I appreciate it though. It helped me get better, I think. So yeah.
It's one thing to play a Philippine team in the finals. It's another thing to play Barangay Ginebra in the finals, because the crowd that they bring in is incredible and it's immense. And Coach Brian Gurgen mentioned it felt like it's you guys against the world. You said in an interview, your game one performance got a bit in your head, did not shoot the way you want to at all, to be kind about it. But how has this experience so far helped you develop? Because honestly, the mental game, I could only imagine what's going through in your head.
Yeah, that's the mental game is an aspect that I think I definitely want to develop in as a, you know, moving forward in my professional career, because it's something that, like, in college and growing up, it's never really thought about. It's just playing skill. And I think now when you get to playing at a level where, like, the fans are, you interact with the fans a lot, and here in the PBA, especially in the playoffs, like, the crowds are packed. It's a really important aspect, being able to block it out and just stay mentally focused. And so that was where I struggled in game one. But I think since then, getting that second game underneath my belt has helped my confidence. And like I said, it's somewhere I want to develop as a professional. But I appreciate how the fans are here. Like, I enjoy playing in front of them every game. It's a fun aspect, regardless of whether or not we have any fans in the stands, or, you know, but it's still a super fun experience. A lot of our teammates enjoy it, so yeah.
Obviously, this has been a unique experience for you guys here, coming over to the Philippines, playing here in the PBA. Regardless of the result, what do you think you're going to take away from it?
The work ethic and the mental game, I think, are the two biggest things I'll take from this year, playing here in the Philippines. And so I think both are super important coming back. So yeah.
I get that. And of course, you know, just for a bit of fun towards the end here, I'm just going to shoot you I'm just gonna give you questions. You just fill them up, right? And just go as quickly as we can. No breaks, really. And I have a feeling you already know what some of these questions will be. Like, for example, who's the toughest cover in the PBA?
This is one I have to think about, though. For me, or just in general?
For you.
Ah, man, I don't want to think too hard. Oh, I'd say Brownlee. Brownlee's. Yeah, I know it's an easy answer picking an import, but there was a few locals I was thinking of, but I'd just say Brownlee. You know, he's been tough all year, so yeah. Yeah.
Which guy do you think twice as soon as you see him right in front of you with the ball in your hands?
This one might be a dark horse, but Ginebra's just fresh on my mind. I'd say Stanley Pringle. You know, when he gets going, I've seen clips of him when he was younger, and he's very shifty. He can get you going one way. Like he's pretty shifty. I'm not gonna lie. When he's in front of me, I have to really dial in.
Is there any player in the PBA that the entire team would talk about after playing them?
Yeah, June Ma for sure. Because he was a cover for the whole team. That was our chess match against San Miguel, was stopping him, and he's someone that almost the whole team has to focus in on. Yeah, we talked about him, and because he's such a legend of the game out here, heard a lot of things about him. You know, he potential GOAT out here, so Junma for sure.
And of course,
Calvin Abueva actually. Every game we see him play on TV, every game we played him, someone on the team would have something to say. Like, he's an interesting player. I personally am a little bit of a fan. You know, I've heard, but he does do some questionable things. But I think the way he goes about it is just interesting. I don't know. But Calvin Abueva or June Ma, more June Ma. But I just wanted to throw Calvin Abueva in.
I really appreciate it, and of course, good luck in the rest of the finals. And hopefully, we get to see you a lot more soon.
Appreciate it.
And that was Hayden Blankley of the Bay Area Dragons. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dip Dipianco.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Diego Dario, and this has been The Game.